Good early afternoon, Roger Hill, Wuthering Heights, VELCO Weather Hazards Forecaster. Looking at the big picture across the lower 48 United States, we have a fairly significant trough of lower pressure. This is actually one that's producing a lot of wind on its front side as well as some pretty good winds on its back side. This particular jet stream energy coming in out of British Columbia is going to continue to track toward the Great Lakes and provide us with a cutoff low that's going to spin. And in meanwhile, it's going to pull up some moisture from the remnants of Julia, and that's going to cross in from the Gulf of Mexico as a cold front. Everything kind of gets together, and it's going to produce some strong winds on Thursday night, as well as some moderate to potentially heavy rainfall. We could see somewhere over an inch, and in some cases, maybe 1 to 2 inches of total rainfall. All of that taking place on Thursday night. We'll have southeasterly gradient winds that interact with terrain, and so wind gusts could be in that 40 to 50 mile per hour range, and a little bit of downsloping along those western slopes that taking place, it looks like, late in the day on Thursday, and then continuing into Thursday night before the frontal system pushes on offshore. After that, we're looking at drier weather to move on in. Let's take a look at the latest computer modeling. Currently a fine day in progress. We have the Canadian on the right-hand side, the European on the left-hand side, and we see basically a setup with a weak ridging of higher pressure, and that's going to be in control, it looks like, through the day tomorrow. As we move along here into the day on Wednesday, you can see this is valid about 5 o'clock on Wednesday. Still showing no precipitation. We're awaiting jet stream energy that's going to be working in, and this is going to produce a cutoff area of low pressure. It's going to pick up a lot of that moisture associated again with Julia down here, and then bring it north where we're looking at some locally heavy rainfall. Also some gusty winds. We have this area of higher pressure, 1032 hectopascals over in the Canadian Maritimes against an area of low pressure that's going to be producing kind of a squeeze effect, and that's going to lower the boom on some southeasterly gradient winds, all in conjunction while that's passing through, making this a little bit more difficult to forecast and a little bit more complex, as that may set up a buffer along the western slopes of the Green Mountains. In the meantime, higher terrain most likely affected with wind gusts greater than 40 miles per hour. But again, this is going to be in conjunction as some showers and thunderstorms, some locally heavy, potentially moderate to locally heavy, and then all of that will then move on out and shift out of the scene during the afternoon on Friday. And beyond that point, we're looking at drier weather with a ridge of higher pressure beginning to ridge back into the region, it looks like, along about Saturday for a very nice day. And then a little bit more unsettled conditions work in, with just catching just a piece of this as this upper level low continues to spin, picks up a little bit of moisture, and that wheels it through portions of adjacent Canada and possibly into the state of Vermont. Beyond this outlook period, going into early Monday morning, we're looking at generally fair weather here, but there is going to be another weather system that's going to get sort of a slingshot again with some moisture developing from the Gulf of Mexico, the western side of the Gulf of Mexico out of Texas, through the Ohio Valley and into the northeast United States with a secondary one. Now also note that the second cutoff low may be cold enough to produce some snow, but this is way, way around the corner. We're talking around anywhere between the 18th and potentially the 20th of October. We might find a little bit of snow down the valley floors, something we'll be taking a close watch on. Looking at the Gfs Ensemble, we have one main precipitation maker here, a little bit of noise in the system once we get past it, but for the most part, dry weather leading up to this precipitation event, and we're looking at moderate to locally heavy rainfall potential with this fairly active, potent frontal system with a weak area of low pressure rolling along it and enhancing precipitation. Looking at the total precipitation amount, the average mean for the Gfs Ensemble, greater than 1 inch amounts and closer to 1.5 inches with the latest model runs. The European is in similar agreement. This is precipitable water, and this is about 2, 3, almost 4 sigma. A quick look at precipitation type, it's going to be all rain. Note that way around the corner, along about the 18th, 19th, 20th, some indications of snow with the Gfs Ensemble agreeing with the European model. This is accumulated precipitation from the Weather Prediction Center, and this is a 7-day total QPF. Note hardly anything going on here in the west, from Pacific Northwest east into, it looks like, the upper Midwest plains. And in our neck of the woods, we're going to see the most input of precipitation with that combination of that moisture working in and out of the Gulf of Mexico interacting with that upper level low that'll be cut off in the jet stream. Looking at the anomalous temperatures from the climate reanalyzer, we can see that temperatures are just a little bit above normal, and we're near normal, slightly below normal, but those temperatures are going to rise before they're going to fall. Looking at the weighted temperatures, the next 5 days of high temperatures from the meteorological output statistics show temperatures running about 6 degrees above normal, and then we start to cool it off as we'll see an influx of colder air eventually get into the region. That makes it neutral here across parts of western New England, and you can see where it's still above normal. That's going to be shifting off the coast, and some colder air is going to be advecting into that region with that cutoff low propelling and slingshotting some mighty cool and especially drier air also. Over the next couple of days, according to the National Hurricane Center, we have just one system to take a look at, and that's about 60% chance of spin up. Incidentally, there's another system that's in conjunction with this just off the Pacific coast. This is the Tropical Cyclone Ensemble from the European model, indicating kind of similar situation here. Here's the Pacific coastal system, but notice another one develops, and we have two in tandem. Very odd. They may be the same system. The model's just having a little bit more of a difficult time with it. However, watch what takes place over the next 10 days. Right back where it came from. That's it from here, Roger Hill, Wuthering Heights. Thanks for watching.